So after 7 times 7 years, 7 years times 7 years, after that, the year of Jubilee, the year of freedom. We've been here 435 years. I hope I don't have to subtract 35 from 90. For it to become 490 years and drop a zero. We know from our calendar you have no such luxury. However, this lapse confirms that perfection and reconciliation to Yahweh are interrelated and intended. To be reconciled to Yahweh means to become one with Him, and therefore become one with Yahweh's law, become one with Yahweh's will. Yahweh's will is that we be perfect, holy, righteous, sanctified. Where do we find that?
Leviticus 44.
Matthew.
That's 548.
548. Matthew chapter 5, verse 48. Read Matthew chapter 5, verse 48. Read.
Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
Clear? That's not something we just read and let pass now. We have to get serious about this, being perfect. Sometimes we want to get caught up in our little personal desires and let perfection slip. And then we want to tell other people how they ought to be, while our lives are not perfect. How can you tell someone else to be perfect and you don't want to be? Our observance of the Day of Atonement means that we believe in the laws of Yahweh. We believe that the cleansing of our sins is important. We believe that the forgiveness from Yahweh is what saves our lives. Having Yahweh to forgive us is important, and we believe that. We believe that the Day of Atonement is one of our foundation principles. We believe that the Day of Atonement is a grounds for our faith. We believe that the Day of Atonement is an act of redemption, that it has redeeming value. We believe that the Day of Atonement is in behalf of the covenanted people of Yahweh, the people to whom Yahweh made his agreement with at Mount Horeb and many other times in our history. We believe that the Day of Atonement is a time for prayer. Not just saying tefillah and don't know nothing about it. It's not a time where we just stand up and say tefillah, Avenu Shabashemai, Yikadesha Meaka, Tavo Malkuteka, Yehase Rizonka. And it don't have no meaning to you. You have no idea what each one of the words mean. You haven't really, it doesn't really permeate your brain one way or the other. You just learn how to say something and you don't have no idea what it is, and it's really not connecting to you. That's an empty prayer. But we believe Day of Atonement is an occasion for a solemn devotional prayer. We believe that Day of Atonement is a day of forgiveness, or a day to be thankful, a day of praise. We believe that Day of Atonement is an opportunity to be cleansed, to be washed in the water of the Word, to come out without spot or blemish. We believe that Day of Atonement is a time for us to pray for all of our people who are ignorant of Yahweh and His law. Day of Atonement is a time to do as Job did. Pray for our relatives, atone for our relatives and our friends and those that walk in darkness, though they have no desire one way or the other that you atone for them. And if you probably told them, they might tell you, don't bother. Yet it is our responsibility. We believe that Day of Atonement helps us to realize the power of publishing the name Yahweh like the rain falling from the heavens and like the dew distilling upon the tender leaves of the tender grass. We actually believe that the publishing of the name of Yahweh is a mercy to the land. We believe that publishing the name of Yahweh, the Day of Atonement, and in publishing the name of Yahweh and the Day of Atonement is a reality that makes for the event of Feast of Tabernacles. We believe that Day of Atonement is a time for holiness and for becoming perfect, and that the Day of Atonement is a time for us to love the idea of becoming righteous and moral. We believe that Day of Atonement is designed to help us give up all immoral acts, immoral thoughts. Immoral acts follow immoral thoughts. We believe that the Day of Atonement is a time to eliminate corrupt mentalities. We believe that Day of Atonement is a time wherein we can be renewed in the spirit of our mind. Day of Atonement is a time where we can cast off the corruptible mind and take on the incorruptible mind. Cast off the old mind, take on a new mind. Day of Atonement means that I give up last year's mind and take on a new mind to go with the new year. Day of Atonement, we believe, Day of Atonement means I'm going to live a brand new life. We believe that Day of Atonement is decision time, decision-making time. That it's a matter of choice. Let's look at 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Let's look at verse 45. Read.
And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
In verse 44, read.
It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body, and there is a spiritual body.
Verse 42, read.
So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption.
Are you hearing? Day of Atonement deals with the resurrection. Of who? the dead. The so-called black people of America are the spiritually dead who are in need of resurrection. Our lives in America prove that.